KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack!
And good morning, everybody!
Good morning.
Tell you what, beautiful day in Houston, Texas, especially after the rains last night, let me tell you, but we could use it.
We needed the rain.
And we needed the rain for our yard, so let me tell you, we have a great show in tune today, don't we, Rob?
We have a house full, an absolute house full. And first of all, I want to thank all my guests for being here.
There's like 47 people in
yeah,
the studio.
47 people.
Right.
And
They're all standing up looking at us right now.
Standing up waiting for their turn. We have in the house, we have Lisa Kornhauser with John Donner. We have Stephen Hallmark with Prudential Anderson Properties. We have Mike Gray with Heritage Texas Properties. And Michael Roddy with Remax Town and Country. So, and standing in the back that's not going to utter a word is Myra Efros, also with Prudential Anderson Properties.
We're sorry to the other three realtors that we couldn't get here today.
That's right. Anyway, well, I'm going to start the show talking with Lisa Kornhauser. And I want to start off with saying that I had a young agent, Alona Maturin, who worked with Lisa on a $1 million house. It was her first $1 million sale of my agent. And it was Lisa's listing, and she was, so gracious and so professional, and I just can't thank you enough for your graciousness in working with Alona. So we'll start there. And so what's going on inside the Loop? What's going on in Bel Air?
Oh, my God. Everything is going on in Bel Air. There is so much going on. There are so many sales going on. You have to be ready. When you're ready to buy a home, you really need to be ready, paper and pen, to execute.
So what are you recommending to your buyers right now? You're taking them out. They see a house they like. What are you telling them?
The first thing you need to do is you really need to be prepared. You need to get all your financing in order, because when something comes on the market, unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of time to think too much. You need to be educated. So when you find something, you need to have an educated agent, hopefully me, to help you make the process as smooth as possible.
And I know we've had a lot of shortage of inventory in the area. You work a lot in Bel Air, of course, but you work inside the Loop and close in. In Bel Air, which I think is your bailiwick, your specialty. What kind of inventory is it available
There's so little inventory right now on the market. There's only 45 active homes right now on the market. There's 81 pending sales right now, either option pending or pending. So clearly there's just nothing on the market. When something good comes on the market, it pretty much goes first day.
So when you're working with a buyer, I guess you educate them up front and say, basically, this is what you're going to see. Mm-hmm. And don't get angry if you lose a deal, because I'm hearing deals where they're offering full price or over full price, and they're still losing the deal. Is that happening to you?
You really have to decide how badly you want a house, because many times you do have to go over full price. It's not always the case, but many times if you want a home, you sometimes don't get a second chance when you're negotiating. So I always ask my buyers, how badly do you want this house? Because if there's multiple offers, you may have to come in over full price and decide, is this the number that if you don't get a second chance, would you say to yourself, I've given it my best shot? And just wish for the best at that point.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, you know what's amazing also is how many, and you can attest to this as well, how many multiple offer situations are happening not only in the outskirts of Houston, but also in the $1 million section.
Right.
It's really something of an anomaly that we're seeing. Multiple offers put on $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million homes. Obviously, you mentioned the best way to combat that is, number one, be prepared and be prepared to buy. But, also going into it, are you seeing any appraisal issues that are coming up? How are lenders, I guess, dealing with some of these issues that might be coming up, especially on appraised value?
There are appraisal issues. I've had maybe 3 appraisal issues. We fortunately worked them out. Because the market is so strong now, anytime I have a listing and there is an appraisal issue, I'm always there for when the appraiser comes, I'm always there to answer any questions and talk about my house, why it is worth what it is. Usually when you have multiple offers, that always helps. I show the other offers to the appraiser, say, look, it's not just one person saying that the price is X amount. There's multiple buyers saying that they feel that the house is worth X amount. So it's actually, we've been able to work it out, but it is a little bit sticky of a situation sometimes. You just have to educate the appraiser sometimes.
No, I would absolutely agree there.
And just to interject here, is, a market value is a willing seller willing to sell, a willing buyer willing to buy, neither being under duress, establishes market value. And the appraisers have been behind for a while because they say, well, I don't have anything to compare it to. Well, they're not taking into account for the trends. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and the one thing I'd like to say is the market is very, very strong, but also realize that if your house is overpriced, and there are many sellers that are out there, taking advantage of this market, which I would encourage them to do so. But if you price it too high, you're not going to get showings and you're not going to get offers. I mean, you have to be realistic to what the market is, and you don't need long in this market, probably no more than in my market, no more than 2 weeks to know if you're priced correctly.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's because of the amount of showings that you end up having, amount of multiple offers or offers you end up getting. And so you're right. It still comes back to the basics, which is pricing it right at the very beginning.
That's right.
Is still the best, I guess, the best recipe for success out there versus the alternative, which is price it whatever you want to, people are buying, because that can still be a recipe for disaster. Yeah.
This is Texas, so we want to point out, no guns during negotiations, please.
We had a saying in some of the trainings I've done is basically if you've had the house on the market 10 days and no showings, you're overpriced. And if you had 10 showings and no offers, you're overpriced. So, I mean, those are really great indicators. So when you're working with sellers, are you prepared to say, like, are you ready to move in, like, 2 weeks? Or
right. The nice thing about this market is when people want a home, a lot of times you really do need to negotiate. I always say don't worry about the what ifs when you're putting your house on the market, because you're the last person to sign on the dotted line. So if you get multiple offers, you actually are in the driver's seat at this point. If the timing doesn't work out, then you just negotiate it. And if it doesn't work out with this buyer, you probably have another buyer or two that can work with your schedule.
And when you are taking multiple offers, and I know there's a lot of different ways to handle it, how are you handling those multiple offers?
Usually what I do when I have multiple offers, because it is a little overwhelming for a seller, is I will do a spreadsheet for them, and we just go over the pros and cons of each offer. And it's not as hard as you think. I mean, I really do walk my sellers through the process step by step, take a couple of deep breaths, and it works, trust me.
I bet you it's refreshing, though, at least to be able to walk in and say, I've got multiple offers.
It really is. And, the market is strong, but if you price your house right and you actually get your house in a position where you're going to get there is work to be done. You can't just put your house on the market and expect that everyone's going to come running. You really do need to do the prep work to put your house on the market.
And now, how long have you been selling in Bel Air now?
About 14 years.
Okay, about 14 years. So you're telling people, and they go, Lisa, I'd love to list with you, and I'm just afraid, where we're going to go. I mean, Is that the objection you're running into? That
is the fear of most sellers. And I always say we've never left anyone homeless. And we do have at John Darty, we have a wonderful leasing department. So they are on top of it 24 hours a day. That's all that they do. And I usually hand all of my sellers over to our leasing department so that they are prepared. They have a place to go. Truly, no one has been left homeless.
Yeah, and this morning before the show, we were talking about that a lot of people are looking for new construction. And of course, I've worked with some other realtors in this room are always looking for lots for their builders and things like that. Are you able to find anything right now? I mean...
Yeah, that is hard because everyone's looking for lots right now. And yes, there are lots to be found, but like I said, you have to be ready because it's not just builders looking, but there are individuals that are looking to custom build right now. So you not only have builders, but you've got individuals who are wanting to shop the builders around.
Well, I've noticed that builders have gotten a lot smarter. They're not out there trying to steal properties. They're paying fair market value for lots. And
everyone's
like
paying fair market value.
And if I was going to find a 50 by 100 lot, say just inside the loop, maybe off of Newcastle or something like that, what would I expect to pay for a lot? You're
probably looking in the low end, probably in the low twos, closer to the railroad, and then you're probably going up into the threes for that size lot.
And if you get on streets like Evergreen where you have bigger lots, what are we looking?
I just sold one on Evergreen, and we sold that for, I believe, in the 360 range on Evergreen, and it sold immediately, and we had multiple people looking for it.
What is that big attraction to Bel Air? I know it's its own city. Why do people want to move to Bel Air?
Well, it's really like Mayberry, to be honest with you. It's a small town feel. You have your own police and fire department. You've got great schools. And the proximity to the medical center downtown, it pretty much will take you no more than 15 minutes to get some of these major destinations.
There's a great opportunity here to make a Don Knotts reference to the police force of Bel Air, but I will avoid it.
They're excellent. Trust me.
They're great.
They are excellent.
Well, I do remember showing a house in Bel Air a few years back. They had given me the wrong security code to get in. No. And I set the alarm off. I'm meaning within 2 minutes, the Bel Air police were there saying, son,
that's right.
What you doing here?
You really do feel secure there.
Now, I was noticing, you also have a property out there which is the winner of CNBC's $1 Million Home Challenge.
Yes.
Let me know a little bit about that.
We won. That's right. There were 6 homes across the country that were selected the best value for your money. It was $1 million home. It's on Cedar Street. And they voted ours number one out of 6 others. One was in Chicago, California, North Carolina, I believe. And Houston does give you the best bang for your buck. It really does.
I was watching something the other day, was talking about where it gives the best bang for the buck on the $1 million properties. It's amazing what you get in Houston for $1 million versus California or some of the other areas out there.
Oh, I think it was in California, it was about 1,000 square feet. We have 4,400 square feet built in 2007. Everything's brand new. I mean, it's just hard to beat that.
No, I would absolutely agree. And what are some of the amenities and features you're seeing right now inside the Loop that people are looking for the most? Like, you know, one of the things, we talked about this a couple shows ago, you have your suburban lifestyle, but you have your inner Loop lifestyle. And the homes oftentimes reflect those differences.
Right. So many people, young buyers, buyers looking in Bel Air, they all want the many of them want the open concept, the big kitchen that opens to the family room. Everyone wants a mud room nowadays. Just an easy lifestyle, nice backyard where you can have outdoor entertaining with an outdoor grill, possibly a room for a pool. So
all good stuff to have, let me tell you.
Stuff.
Especially for those off-roaders, you know, the mud rooms are very important.
We love those, the dump room, I call it, where everyone dumps their things when they come home.
That is really good. Well, you know, and like we said, we're talking about real estate inside the Loop. If you want to reach out and ask any one of our great guests a question, you can do so. Lines are open, 800-808-5548. We are here with Lisa right now, talking with John Daugherty Realtors. You know, let us know a little bit about John Daugherty, by the way, because one of the things we're talking in one of our breaks, actually, before we started, is I have the pleasure of knowing a very good individual, very good company over there. Let us know a little bit about John Daugherty Realtors and what it consists of, how it started, and more importantly, some of the great features that you all offer over there.
Well, I started with them when I started in real estate about 14 years ago, and I knew the minute I walked in the door that that was the place that I wanted to work for. John's amazing. He's extremely hands-on, and he has the support staff that helps me do my job better, and that's key to truly helping my clients. We have about 150 agents, and we do a great job of networking just within our office. Everyone is wonderful to work with there. We have an amazing advertising. We have Roseanne Rogers, who is now our PR department, and she has really taken us to new levels on social media, which is really how so many buyers today and sellers market their property, and everyone's looking online. I've just enjoyed it.
You know, and I'll tell you, you're absolutely right. Social media is something really different. If you look out nowadays, it's amazing how many people put what they're listing, what recently sold, the families that have bought. You know, I used to think it was a little bit of an invasion of privacy, but now I have realized, though, is, you know, 80% of all individuals are going to the internet to buy real estate nowadays. And they're using social media as a great way. And you're absolutely right. Your organization uses it in a very efficient and effective way to get the message out there as to what's going on, especially when you talk about the inner loop. You know, inner loop is a little bit smaller community, very driven by referral systems and referral basis right there. So it's very interesting and a lot of fun to see what you guys are doing in that arena.
You would really have to be from Houston to understand referring to the inner loop, where there's, what, 1 million or 2 people as a small community.
Right.
Well, I know we had some listeners in Dallas, but, you know, I think they have a loop and they have the same.
Yeah. You know, where our city limits is like larger than Rhode Island.
Well, you know, and then you look at nowadays, you look at where we stand just population-wise. Houston, you know, 10 years ago we were right under 4 million. Today we're pushing up to 6. So it's a huge difference in population. You know, we are going to be coming up against a break. Lisa, how can we reach you if you don't mind?
Oh, my cell phone is the best way to reach me, 832-274-6156, or my office, 713-626-3930. And I just want to say that I have 2 amazing full-time licensed assistants who make me do my job better. Kevin and Marcus are amazing.
That is great. You know, anyone who wants to buy a property out there, definitely give Lisa a call. Great individual. We love having her on the show. We're going to keep her over to listen to us, but we are coming up against a break right now, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. I am Chris. Rob and Joe are in the house. Remember, you can ask us a question at 800-808-5548. We want to hear from you.
You know, I was dying to ask. I didn't get to ask Lisa about the Fresh Prince. How's he doing?
The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. That is correct. You know, but I think it's Bel Air,
I didn't think about it until after she was
like
gone.
A Michael Roddy joke, actually. Who's in the house today? So anyway, I would love to introduce someone from Prudential Anderson Property, which is my company, is Stephen Hallmark. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you very much. And before we, get started on the segment, I do want to say that you should go to this the Real Estate Rat Pack's Facebook page because they very much have a very classic photo up.
Yes.
Yes, follow us on that. So,
And we tell everybody, definitely go out there and like us, Real Estate Rat Pack, on Facebook. We want to get our likes up. Thank you very much for that,
likes
Steve.
up. Yeah, we want to get that going. We've got a lot of traction going on the Rat Pack. We're getting known out there. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we're getting known. Anyway, Stephen, you
Well, it's good to be known outside of the post office, the wall where we're used to, Rob.
Now you're throwing me off. Okay, we're all professionals. Don't do this at home, folks. Stephen, you work inside the Loop, and I know you work the Heights and areas like that. Talk to me about the arena in which you work in.
The main arena is the Heights, Washington Avenue, Rice Military Corridor is the main arena. A lot of, in the Heights, obviously, traditional older homes, but with a lot of remodeling and some new construction going on. And then, of course, the Washington Corridor or Rice Military, you do have more condensed living, but they're 2-3-story type townhome high-rises area of town.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Lisa, which is, what are you seeing there? I mean, inventory? What's the product like?
We're seeing very limited inventory, almost zero. I did a search this past week over there in the Washington Avenue, Rice Military area, really at 350 and lower, and I basically came up with 4 homes on the market that were 3 bedrooms or larger, and it's a fast moving market.
You know, folks, we're seeing a common theme out there. List your property. We're begging you.
That's a common theme on the show every week. Also,
Right?
Rob
I
is
mean, this
always
is the
saying
theme
that.
of the show. I mean, we're going to have to start asking, hey, I've got 2 buyers, and one of them just put in a higher offer than you. Are you okay with living together?
Well,
Just let them move in for a while.
What I'm seeing a lot with the low inventory, and I'm seeing it, is that there are sellers out there, or potential sellers, that are not putting their home on the market for a couple of factors. One is a few years ago we received a lot of phone calls regarding, hey, should I buy now? Has the market hit its bottom? Hey, should I buy now? Now I'm receiving calls the opposite of saying, should I list now? Do you think it'll go up? Should I list now? And so I think some sellers are a little hesitant to put their homes on the market, and so we're losing that inventory aspect of it. And especially in my market over there in Rice Military, where you have traditionally a younger couple, they haven't had their first child yet and moved out to possibly the suburbs, is when they are moving, we're finding that they're renting those homes instead of selling them because of interest rates and rents being so high. So again, I think it's contributing to a lot of low inventory.
Weren't you also seeing a very small selection of rentals? I've talked to agents that we can't find anything to rent.
You cannot find anything to rent, especially in that area where there is very much a trendy lifestyle for young professionals aged 25 to 33. There's lots of restaurants, nice bars, a lot of activity to do, and we are seeing that that's where the young professionals want to move, and the owners or the landlords are definitely in demand over there.
Yeah, the apartment association just released some numbers that they're 94% occupancy for apartments, and that's very high. And so even the apartments are experiencing a lot of, and of course that takes into account some apartments are probably not as desirable, but the high enders are full. So not even finding rentals for that type of thing. So what do you do when you get, and I know you do a lot of relocation business, and they're coming into town and having to buy something, and you don't find something. What do you do?
That can be very frustrating, and it's frustrating not only for myself when I'm working with a buyer, and I hear and I'm seeing the frustration with other realtors when they're working with those buyers. The biggest idea is really to try to help that buyer understand to be patient and to show them the market, to show them that there is very limited inventory. So we do need to have a little bit more patience and at the same time be aggressive when we see something that comes on the market we like.
Let's talk about new construction. What type of availability do you see in new construction? Is there activity right now?
They're similar to what Lisa mentioned in Bel Air. There's a desirability for a lot of lots are going, and builders are competing for that. There is new construction. We're seeing that because of a past market, we're seeing that builders can't build fast enough. And when they are starting projects, we're seeing buyers go to them before the builder has even cut ground, so to speak, to lock into homes that are potentially being built.
And I noticed in the Heights where lots you could buy at $30 a foot are now going for $35 and $40 a foot. And people are going, I'll pay it, and they just pass the cost along to the buyer. Is that what you're seeing as well?
I'm seeing some lots go to $50 a foot. I recently had an experience where I had a remodeled bungalow in the Heights, and it was very nicely done, and we had multiple offers on it from a buying market because it was a remodel bungalow, and a builder stepped in and offered us a nice sum above the two buyers, and he basically is removing the house and is going to build something there, and I'd never seen that before.
Well, that's a great segue because I've been using Stephen's experience on one listing Stephen had, and that was, why don't you talk about that listing?
Well, I know Lisa attributed a little bit to this when she talked about the appraisals and talking to appraisers on market value. If you think about it, real estate's one of the few markets where we as an industry, we base a product, a home, on what past sales have done, which, of course, as Rob mentioned, it's what a willing seller will sell for and what a willing buyer to buy for. So I put this home on the market based on past sales, and it really blew me away. In 2.5 days, I had 91 showings and 27 offers I brought to my client. And that's when I realized that this market is definitely not what past markets have been.
I was talking to someone the other day who's also a producer inside the loop, and she was telling me that it's just not fun anymore right now. So it's not a balanced market. It's just very even for the sellers. It's tough because they're getting inundated, and basically they're telling their agents, stop it. My neighbors are complaining about all the cars in the street. You hearing that too?
I'm hearing that. On that particular home, I had a realtor from my office who showed it, and he sent me a text message that night. And down the street is a fast food restaurant, and he sent me a text message saying, Stephen, there are more realtors in front of this house than there are in cars in the parking lot of this fast food restaurant at 6:30 on a Friday night.
So what I'm hearing is if you want to throw a big party and have a lot of guests, just list your house.
Yeah, exactly.
And, of course, invite the Rat Pack when you do that, okay?
Yeah.
Alluding to what Rob was saying is it can be somewhat frustrating, I think, sometimes for sellers, and I'm seeing more and more realtors doing this, is they're putting, especially listing a house, I like to, on a hot market, is say, please, we want to give you time to show this house to all your buyers because my job is to bring my seller the highest and best offer. So a lot of times I'd like to set guidelines or goals of saying, we'll accept all offers on this particular day of the week. We're going to review them on this particular day, and then we'll make our decision on this particular day. And it gives the buying public a chance to come in, view the house, and it does relax my seller a little bit more knowing that there's an end to the ultimate goal.
Now, I didn't ask Lisa this question, but I'm going to ask you this question. And sometimes when you're worried about too much traffic, are you doing pocket listings? Are you seeing pocket listings out there?
We are hearing more and more about pocket listings, and I will give you my personal opinion on pocket listings. I personally feel as a listing agent, I do not like to hold pocket listings and sell to a particular pocket of realtors. I think my job as a listing agent is to sell my client's home for the highest dollar in the quickest amount of time. And if I don't open that up to the public and my clients wants me to, then I'm not getting them top dollar.
Yeah, I think Lisa had a comment on that. What do you think about that, Lisa?
Well, I wanted that question because I concur. You really need to, the pocket listings, they sound great because you don't get traffic in a seller, and seller thinks that that's wonderful. But the fact of the matter is, when you open it up to the public and you put it on MLS, you're exposing it to the masses. And when you expose it to the masses, you're going to get a higher dollar than if you just do a pocket listing.
Exactly.
I totally agree.
Exactly.
And what was funny is when you asked that question and Stephen answered that question, the whole group in the background was all shaking their head.
Oh, good.
It's just a reality of the market, and there's some people that are rationalizing the fact that I don't want to put my seller through this. And they're
Right.
also doing some things that they would normally do with a normal listing, which is they don't want to move for a few months. So we're going to move it as pocket listing. If you want to buy it, my sellers are going to stay in it for 3 or 4 months while their house is being built. So there's some rationale to do a pocket listing. But I agree with both of these people here. I think you get the highest and best offer when you put it out to the realtor community.
And I would agree as well. I'll give you an example. I had a home that I was evaluating the other day. I have 7 investment properties that I lease out. Several of them are corporate rentals. And so I was evaluating either continuing on a long-term lease with a major oil company or putting my property on the market, right? And it's a very desirable area, very, very heavy. And so I interviewed multiple agents there, and one of them said, if you want to, why don't you just put it on a pocket listing if you're not willing to put it on the market yet? I understand something like that because it was still being leased out. It was still not available to put on the market. It still has 2 months to go before it was ending. But to use that as a mechanism to actually go out there and to put your home on the market, I don't think it's a good mechanism, as Lisa was saying and Stephen as well. guess what? You're not gonna get the highest and best offer on that, and it's not gonna go out to the masses.
You don't know. I mean,
yeah, and it's not gonna go out to the masses because part of what you're looking at doing is making sure that you can expose that home to the best available opportunity for an individual to look at it and make an offer on it.
I just want to toss in too that it's certainly a subject that it has a lot of strong feelings about it. We have discussions on the Rat Pack page on Facebook, so another reason to go there. And there was a discussion there. So one realtor very strongly felt that we're going to see some lawsuits come up in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that was
over
Richard
this
Weekly
kind of
up in our Dallas listener.
Yeah. For sure, this subject is something that brings out a lot of strong feelings.
And just in case people don't know what a pocket listing is, it's basically a listing where you've got an agreement with a seller to sell the house for them, but they don't put it on our multiple listing service. And so they kind of hold it in-house and probably network within their own office or within the network of people they typically work with, but they don't put it out to the masses. So that's what a pocket listing is. Is that everyone's understanding of it? Everybody shake their head.
Exactly,
yes. Okay.
yes.
That's what I definitely understand. We are going to be coming up against a break again. I want everybody to know that you can reach us at 800-808-5548. I also want to give you an opportunity to let us know how we can reach you if you don't mind.
You can reach me at my cell phone number, which is 832-228-1659, or you can email me, very simple, hallmark@stephenhallmark.com. Again, that's Hallmark, just like the cards. And Stephen
I need to pick up a Mother's Day card.
That's why I'm doing this radio show and not in the Caribbean right now.
And everyone listening out there, they're giving out their cell phone numbers. You can call right now any one of the agents that you hear. You can call them. It's their cell phone numbers. They won't answer maybe right now since they're in the studio, but as soon as this thing's finished, trust me, they will be picking up your phone call. We are coming up against a break right now. We really appreciate everyone being on board here. When we come back, we also have OneGuard in the studio. They're going to talk very briefly about home warranty, which goes along very well with everything we're talking about, and then we're coming back to speak more about what's going on inside the loop. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What a world. What a life. I'm in love.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
All right, we're coming back from the break, and we're glad to be back. We've got an entire party going on here. And what's hilarious is that there was like a genuine party going on here. Tons of conversation. Then somebody says 20 seconds, we're back on air in silence. Yeah, so
but that's the way it needs to be every once in a while, right?
Chris, we've got an awesome guest that's over here, one of our excellent sponsors. Who are these lovely people?
Well, we
here?
really do. One of the things we're talking about real estate inside the loop, and one of the things we're going to have them back on next week, as we talk about what you don't know will hurt you. But I want to give a little shout out and have them talk a little bit about what's going on with OneGuard Home Warranty. OneGuard, actually, and everyone who knows who's in this room right here, is a very good home warranty company for all those listening, whether you're buying a new home, buying a resale, or just have a home and need to get a home warranty on it. Great company, great product. Natasha, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well,
it's
thank
a full
you.
House. Thank you for having me. I'm Natasha with OneGuard Home Warranty. We work all over Houston, but as to the wonderful agents here that are working the inner loop, if you guys are out there and you're in search of a home or you're even selling a property, we have great warranty plans for buyers as well as sellers coverage for those who have homes that may be on the market longer than a day or so. They would like the warranty, we can absolutely get it for them, and we'll have them covered while that property is listed. So if there are any breakdowns, we can cover that for them, and then they can pass on the warranty to their potential buyers. And Bill, my counterpart, is going to go ahead and speak about pest control and some other issues.
And Bill, I want to say this, has the great one-liner on pest control when we were talking about divorces last time. So we always have to bring that up every time. Bill, how you doing, bud?
Doing great. Good morning, everybody. And it dawned on me as I drove here this morning, I know there's probably some mothers in the room. On behalf of OneGuard and mothers everywhere, we say Happy Mother's Day. And I want to tell you, what mother would not want a home warranty for her home? Because seriously, you know that existing homeowners can have that, mothers that can buy a warranty. You don't have to be going through a real estate transaction, but it sure helps. So
you're basically a lousy son or daughter if you don't get your parents a home warranty, is what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing.
I wouldn't say that, but I'm glad you did.
I need to tell my husband, honey, I want a warranty.
That's right. Along with the flowers and the chocolates and the dinners. And pest control. And pest control. I do want to mention that, just a quick note on pest control. As I talk about that, I mention it because really, for us, I believe that's one of the fulcrums of how we're different and how people perceive we're different. Because pest control, I heard our pastor say 2 weeks ago, as he talked about protecting a marriage, it's the little things. And he mentioned a statistic that I followed up on, and that is that termites cause more damage to homes than fires and flood. And I mentioned that because our termite provision in our plan is the best. It's only $59 to treat it, unlike some of the other companies. In addition to that, we cover other pests than the termites. We have wood carpenter ants, centipedes, millipedes, and a whole group of things. But anyway, it's very different. And lastly, I do want to mention this. Earlier in the show, you mentioned new home construction. The builders provide a warranty, but with our new home warranty plan, it adds 4 years to the warranty after the first year. So anyway, check with us in detail about that. But bottom line, someone can live in that home and have those appliances, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical covered for 4 more years after that first year and enjoy our convenience features. With OneGuard, something doesn't have to break for the warranty to be of value. We have convenience features, lawn fertilization, pest control. I know we're running out of time. I'll have to stop. Just a few things.
That is Bill and Natasha with OneGuard. They're going to be on an extended time frame next week, so give them a shout-out. You can always call them 888-896-0014. Get a home warranty today, especially all those mothers that are out there.
Just hop on realestateratpack.com. They are one of our awesome sponsors, so you can find the link to their site. All the contact information is available there, so just hop on realestateratpack.com for that information. As well, this show will be up on that website next week, so you can re-listen to all the great information that our guests have today.
And we've got another great guest here talking about Interloop sales, don't we, Rob?
Yes, we do. Mike Gray with Heritage Texas Properties is selling inside the loop. Welcome.
Thanks. Appreciate being here.
A former airline pilot and turned real estate agent. How long have you been in the business now?
About 12 years.
About 12 years. And you work primarily the same kind of markets that the other agents we've talked to work. Is that the Bel Air or inside the loop?
Probably mostly inside the loop. I do a lot of referrals, business that I can take you anywhere. I've sold at Katie's. I was in Pearland last night. So I do a lot around the city.
So he's still flying high, just in the real estate market.
He's landing big deals now.
Bring it on.
Now, when you say referral business,
sure
tell me what that.
Yeah,
tell me referral business. Tell me what that looks like. Is it like relocation business or
some relocation? But a lot of people tend to move every 3 to 5 years. So being in the business 12 years, you're getting a lot of people that have moving up or moving down, depending on where they are in their stage of life. It's referral from past clients.
Well, I think most people would tell you where they get most of their business from. I'd say probably most agents would say 90% of their business comes from past clients. I think that's probably generally true. Would you all agree with that group? Yeah. We got an affirmative
they all said
on
yes
that.
In the background.
If you do a good job and stay in purposeful contact with your clients who've become your friends and things of that nature. Well, tell me what you're seeing in the market.
Really the same as everyone else has said so far. It's a very fast-moving market. The trends are definitely upwards. If you look at Houston and the amount of people that are moving here, the business, the industry that's going on, it looks like this trend is going to continue. I don't know if it'll continue at this pace, but the upside is there. And
that was going to be one of my questions. I haven't asked anybody in the group. You'll be the guinea pig I'll ask this question on. But one of the things we've seen, obviously, is we saw the market was, I don't want to say slow, but it was a little slower than we see today, obviously. And now we're seeing just a red-hot market right now, probably the hottest we've seen in the past 12 years. And so, one of the things is with inventory levels that we see, where builders are going, what is the sort of forecast you might see? I mean, are we going to see this continued level of multiple offers, or is it going to eventually even out and still be a hot market, but not necessarily, with the lack of inventory that we're seeing right now?
Good question. What I think and from talking to some of the other agents, we think that the rest of this year is going to be a pretty solid, very hot market. A lot of the builders are starting up. They're going after lots. There's a lot of building that's hitting the ground now. That, depending on where you are, is going to take another 6 to 12 months to be there. So if the demand stays up and the building catches up a little bit, it will probably level out some and not be a complete seller's market like it is now.
Your mouth to God's ear.
What is happening inside the loop, as you mentioned right there, the builders, they are moving. People can't continue to move out, so there's a lot of movement now to buy lots and to move back in. And so we're also seeing a lot of homes that are being redeveloped, either being bought and redone or they're being raised and new homes going up on them. Talk a little bit about how that's impacted the market.
I think what we saw in the last couple of years is a lot of people were fixing up their houses because they thought they would stay where they were. Now I'm not seeing as much fix-up now. I'm seeing a lot of new development. People are talking about building, so there's more lots that are going away. at least this year, what we're seeing is if you have an older home or you have a home that would be considered a lot, people are back knocking on your door, whereas that wasn't happening a couple of years ago. Because I think we're in full swing. So I think we're going to see a lot more building coming up. There's a lot more development. There's very sparse amounts of land inside the loop that's available.
I was just going to say, I work with a lot of builders on the credit side. I work with a lot of large builders around town, and from small to big, I have custom builders that I work with on to national builders. Every one of them, I very consistently hear, in essence, hey, if you come across some land, let me know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's bad when they're asking the credit guy about land.
They may be looking at the other end from you.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, you're in credit. You know a lot of realtors. Any land out there?
Well, and I think also we talked about this. We're in that sort of perfect storm right now. You've got rates at an all-time low. You have individuals that are moving to Houston at an all-time high. You still have inventory, even though our inventory levels are dwindling. We've all talked about that. We still have some great availability of products out there. And as we mentioned, you're never going to get a better value than in Houston in buying real estate. It is absolutely the number one market in the nation, not only for buying and selling, but just for the value-wise of it.
Yeah, the number I heard was 1,200 people a month are moving to Houston.
I can imagine. And that's the official number. Most of the time, if you talk to a lot of individuals, those numbers are usually about 25 to 30% higher because there's a lot of people who don't actually mark their move to Houston or you can't actually track because they're coming in a different mechanism.
Well, for U-Haul, Houston is the number one destination point.
Wow.
Number one.
Well, we heard, last week we had a phenomenal guest on with just a ton of information. Talk about getting the fire hose effect. He had a ton of great information, and he talked about, Houston being very unique around the entire United States as far as what our market looks like. We didn't hit anywhere near of a bottom as the entire United States bottomed out, and we've had a really reasonable, up until now, we've had a really reasonable slow kind of a growth that wasn't crazy growth where we're getting these massively increased prices and all that sort of thing. So we've had a really reasonable high ceiling and a really reasonable floor. I think that's changing a little bit here. We're seeing, for the first time, at least I'm not a real estate expert by any means, especially with the people in the room here, as Myra raises her hand in the background. What I'm seeing, though, around the United States, California, all those places, they had double-digit gains and all that sort of thing. But I think we're starting to see some of that movement here in Houston for the first time, at least I'm ever aware of.
Well, I think I heard it labeled the other day as frugal fatigue. People have been saving money for the last several years, and they're ready to buy. They see that the inventory is getting lower. The rates are not going to be around forever where they are.
Right, they won't.
We don't know when they're going to go up, but at some point they're going to go up on that. So people are seeing this as an opportunity, and maybe their last opportunity for who knows when to get in, because a lot of people that come in now, a few years ago, if they were asking, we're looking for a deal, right now there really aren't any deals out.
Right.
And the deals
but there is fair market value.
Very fair market value.
And you mentioned frugal fatigue. I would agree with you. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of sideline buyers, individuals who were afraid of the market. We'd just gone through 2008. They didn't know what they wanted to do when coming back. The real estate market was still solid, but their investments were just starting to come back. So they weren't exactly investing. And now what we're actually seeing is they are coming back, they are investing heavily, and they are looking at moving. There's still the number one generator of wealth in this country is still real estate.
Absolutely.
It always has been and always will be.
We're coming up on a break here. I want to make sure that we know how to get a hold of you.
You can reach me at my cell phone. That's the best number, 832-428-6453, or email at mike@homesfromhouston.com.
That's a great website, by the way, homesfromhouston.com. Mike Gray with Heritage Texas Properties. Great having you on board today.
Thanks for having me.
For all those listening, we want to hear from you. You can always dial in at 800-808-5548. Ask a question about real estate. We've got some great individuals in the studio, but we are going to come up against a break right now, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
A tiny closet, a lukewarm cold water.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
Welcome back to the Really Big Show.
The Really Big Show. And let me tell you, we have a great show going on, and we have a great party in the studio. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, there's still a party going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear that?
you
in the
can hear it in the
background.
background.
They don't know
no
we're live.
idea.
It's just a big party.
We're live and on the air.
They're just having their own discussions now. Get realtors in a room, some free food. It's a party. Exactly. See, I was right. Didn't
free
somebody
food-
bring
somebody-
kolaches
I
this
brought
morning?
kolaches.
What's
They're
going
back
on
there.
with that? I was stuck in like 3 hours of traffic because somebody thought it was a great idea to bring 59
Rob,
down to one lane.
I think you need to start talking with them about sponsoring with the kolaches.
I'm thinking
Yes.
I'd mentioned their name.
Shipley's,
but,
are you out there?
Well,
That's an
actually,
idea.
These are from Southern Made, right by
Southern
my house.
Made. I like
Southern
that even
Made,
better.
shout
Southern
out
Made, are
right
you
now.
listening?
Next time they're free, right?
They actually have some good kolaches too.
Joe, we have one more realtor in the house.
One more realtor in the house. Well, this is a great friend of ours, and we actually smoke cigars together on occasion.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't know what he's talking about either.
Come on, the Rat Pack is known for cigars. Come on. Anyway, we have Mr. Michael Roddy from Remax Town and Country. Michael, glad to have you in the studio today, buddy.
It's a pleasure to be here. Wow, what a great morning to get up and come up here and have an opportunity to talk about, all of us really, talk about what we love doing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Michael, tell the folks that are listening out there, what is area of town that you're mainly focused in?
I am mainly focused in the West U, Southampton area, so a little bit closer in, close to the medical center, and that's where most of my efforts have been over the last 6 to 7 years.
Gotcha. Medical center, that has been a landmark area of town, globally known. Do you see a lot of traffic from the medical side, working with doctors coming in, that type of thing?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, and one of our other agents, Michael, had talked about relocation, and I do relocation as well. And the last 3 relocation clients that I've had have been doctors that have been hired by our medical center that are coming here from other states. So I'm sure that is not only me, but across the board with agents in town where they have a number of medical professionals that are being hired by our medical center. Our medical center is continuing to expand, and they are bringing people in from literally all over the country to fill positions in the medical center.
You know, a statistic that I heard last time, this was a couple of years ago, and I still think it stands true today, is that obviously Houston is known as being the energy capital of the world.
Yes.
But what most people don't realize is the number one employer in Houston is actually healthcare.
Yes.
And if you look at what's been going on in regards to the medical center and then all the other medical centers, Texas Medical Center, Katy is now open. You've got all the new hospital systems that are opening up. You can really see why we are bringing in a lot of individuals in that medical profession. And as you mentioned, still the number one, in my personal opinion, medical center in the world is also the Texas Medical Center. You obviously have Texas Children's, you have St. Luke's, so you have a lot of just some of the premier doctors and installations in the country located right here.
You do, and that's a good point. You brought up we are the energy capital, and I don't know how many people out there realize what we are in the medical field and how many people we employ in the medical field. And it's interesting, our job market here right now, and it just so happens that on my side, I'm not only seeing energy people being relocated to Houston, and there's quite a few of that, and it's been in the news a lot lately, but the medical profession has I would say almost as many, maybe even more people being relocated here. And you don't read as much about it as a lot of our media is focused on energy, which historically that's what we are known for. But the medical field has just been incredible with bringing people to Houston.
And we had the same experience when we had the What's Up in the Burbs show, where Judy Hayes talked about the activity with Kingwood Medical Center and the tremendous growth that they've had out there in that area as well. I think it's one of those areas about Houston that, from a media standpoint, they like to pigeonhole a city, or Dallas is Dallas with oil rigs and cowboy hats, and that's just kind of a mindset that you get. But it's a great thing to point out that it's the medical center that is such a massive driver of employment, and not just from the doctor standpoint, but from an IT standpoint. I had a big background in IT, and that is one of the biggest growth areas, biomedical technology. All the supporting ancillary services around the medical center, the technology side that's driven, that's a huge growth area as well.
Absolutely.
Michael, now tell me, when people are relocating, are they coming from a specific area, or are they coming from all over the country?
They are really coming from all over the country, Rob. What I have seen personally is we're getting quite a few from California that are coming here in all fields, medical profession included. And I've seen people come here from the northeastern states. The last two that I spoke about a minute ago, both of them came from Manhattan, both of them in the medical field.
So they're coming into Houston, and then you're meeting them. What's their expectation when they're buying properties here?
Their expectation is that they will get a little more value for their dollar, which they do, and they come in truly not knowing what our market is really like. They're coming in thinking that they'll be able to casually look, make a choice from a number of different homes, and they're quite surprised at our low inventory. As a matter of fact, we were talking with Danny Frank last night, and I know he's been on your show.
And he's listening right now, actually.
And he's listening right now. Hello, Danny.
We know he is.
We know he's listening.
And he had a statistic, and I do hope that I get this right. And Chris talked about this a minute ago about inventory. Danny mentioned to us that there is now 2.7 months of inventory in Houston. The last period that we have data for, I believe it was 3.5 months.
It was 3.5.
And this is in a short period of time.
And again, Bout and Katy, 0.7. So if they don't list something in about 2 weeks, they are out of business.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Lisa pointed that out when she spoke in the first segment about the inner loop and what to expect there. And I think that's the biggest thing, people coming into town that are relocating here, they just don't quite get that we have such a low inventory.
Well, this is a great segue. Myra Efros from Prudential Anderson Properties is also in the room and has worked that Bel Air area, and she's had some experience right now. She has a relocation
She
plan.
swore she wasn't going to talk.
She swore she wasn't going to talk. But
Oh, well.
she was talking about, she was trying to educate her clients to come from out of town. And tell me what that experience is like.
It's kind of brutal. I have people who are coming in on weekends. Properties come up on the MLS during the week, and by the time they get here to look at them, they are gone. They don't understand always, so there's a long education process of explaining to them that it is a full price or above market. They have to be ready. They have to have their financials in order before we even get into the car, because I'm showing properties, and in the first day, we are competing with, I showed Wednesday, we were
Lisa.
competing. And I would love to sell some of Lisa's listings. So my buyers, she's got fabulous listings, call me. So it is a problem for realtors who are representing buyers. It's really a problem. Last year was a phenomenal year. There was still product on the market. You can't sell what does not exist. Please list your property with me.
We went on, 9 weeks now, and we've had a common theme for about 9 weeks is please list your properties, because it really is. It is a great time to do it because rates are at an all-time low still.
They really are.
What are you quoting for rates right now?
Average rate right now depends on FHA or conventional, but average conventional is about 3.5% on a 30-year fixed.
Unbelievable.
2.75 on a 15, and even your jumbo rates are extremely low right now.
I remember being in the business in the 80s. We were happy when it got dropped from 18 down to 15%.
Right.
So people who've not been in the market for a long time,
you know what I
don't
find interesting
that.
though, and I wanted to ask if everyone here all sees the same things, is we have a lot of international buyers that come in. Believe it or not, my international buyers are so much more well prepared and patient because they understand it and are appreciative of it. A lot of the clients I have coming in, a lot of times from the United States, don't really realize the market that we're in Houston, and they struggle, if you ask me, a lot more with it. It's, well, we didn't have this back where I came from, or California we had this, or on the East Coast we had that. And so one of the things I always like to get the message out there is the market's changed. Don't look at the East Coast or the West Coast or the mid part of the United States as being a measuring stick for what's going on in Houston.
And we talk about it a lot is when you have watching the national news. You can't do the national weather. Markets are local.
Yes.
So
sometimes people can't enjoy those good rates, Chris, because they have credit issues.
What a shameless plug.
What happens then?
There's always a great shameless plug. And what's funny is when they do come to me and they don't qualify, there's only one company, and this is a shameless plug, but I have to do it, that I always refer everybody to, and that is Improve My Credit USA, with that man sitting right across the studio,
Yes!
Joe Orsak.
Chris does better commercials for me than I do.
Well, what's funny is, and I say this in all sincerity, whenever the product works and whenever you follow through with everything you say you're gonna do, it makes it very easy to sit up here and talk about you and your organization because you guys do a great job.
So we're stealing from Michael's segment. So let's get back to Michael Roddy.
No, quite all right. I'm having fun. I mean, it's great to sit up here and listen to all of you talk, and we really are. We all get up here and we talk about the things that we truly enjoy doing. We focus on it day in, day out, and it really is not like work. Well, sometimes it is. But,
that's not what you said last night.
Something I want to point out, because we gloss over it, is that everybody we bring onto this show, as the Rat Pack here, this group of hosts, we've all been in the industry and we do what we do have done it for a very long time, and definitely have a level of expertise at it. Is that while we're having a lot of fun and being playful and tongue in cheek, and I'm the worst of about it, being a goof off and a ham, is that the people we have on the show are truly experts in their area. These are people that understand specializing in a local market and just dominating on knowing what's going on in that market and being on top of what's going on in that market. So the areas of town we've had represented here today, folks, if you're looking for an expert, you definitely want to stay in touch with these people and utilize the expertise that they have.
Michael, how can we get a hold of you since we're coming up against time?
You can reach me on my cell phone at 832-541-4942. My direct line at my office, 832-204-1377.
One thing I want to point out is everyone we have here today is from a different agency, and it just goes to show the camaraderie that we have in this industry. The one thing I tell everybody is everyone here is always looking out for the best interest of our client, and we all work very well together. And it's important to know that because while we all compete for business, we all work together because
we
at the
call
end of
it
the day,
co-opetition.
It's co-opetition right there. It's really good. I want to thank everybody who's been on board. I want to thank Stephen Hallmark. I want to thank Lisa Kornhauser. I want to thank, obviously, Michael Roddy and Mike Gray. Thank you very much for being on board today. We're going to have to get out of the studio. Have a great day.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's
Dean.
Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big show every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 100.7 The Word, KKHT.